Hello, 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 and welcome. What is today? Today is Tuesday. Hi, Roberta. I'm Laura. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, the amazing Laura Rubinstein.
And the amazing Dr. Roberta Shaler. And we're back again for one of our very stimulating conversations on our Transform Your Relationship show. And today's topic is the drum roll, please. Addiction to drama.
Indeed, and it is a widespread addiction as we've all experienced.
Yeah, and it's amazing. To me, it's shocking because I think some people just live with drama like consistently. It's not been my consistent pattern. So when it comes into my life, it's like, what? It's like shocking. But then I see people who, and I have friends who just love to get involved in stuff. What is this all about?
Well, it is kind of shocking if you're not one of the people who participates in the drama. But people don't have lives that they're excited about. So they get excited about other people's lives. I was doing an anger management class on behalf of the Superior Court a couple of years ago, and we were talking about this very thing. And many of the people had already been to jail and were out and had done their time. And one young woman who had been to jail, she said, "Oh, she said, I don't have any drama in my life, but I love hearing about other people's drama." And I thought, oh, okay, so you're addicted to drama because it is your substitute soap opera. Like nothing's happening in your life, so you jump into other people's lives and you get really involved in all of that. And that's kind of a sad reflection on our own lives if we have to jump into the drama of others, don't you think?
I think it says something very telling. If you want that drama and that adrenaline, there's other ways to get it that are healthier, I think.
Yeah, try
Um,
base jumping.
yeah, it you know, I think we're creatures who seek a purpose and a passion and a mission, and sometimes rescuing or jumping into drama and gives us meaning and purpose, and it distracts us from whatever else we don't want to deal with in our life, makes it seem like we have something important to do, gives us a little fire to put out. It does things that we really do want, like we want to feel useful and being of contribution in the world. It's just a kind of a default or a habit way of going there that may not be the healthiest. And maybe you can point to why.
Oh, well, there are lots of reasons why. I think of some people who really don't like their lives very much. So they lust after another person's life. And then they jump into that and they're the super caregiver. Like, oh, this is so terrible that's happening to you. What can I do? What can I do? You know what's happening to her. And they take on the person, perhaps the person has an illness or is recovering from a terrible breakup or something. And they take on that person's pain and then they become that person and they got to talk about it as though it's happening to them. And so, number one thing would be that you don't have a life of your own. And so you just jump into somebody else's. Another thing would be that you really like to be a pot stirrer, that it really gives you power over other people to stir the pot. And so you like that because then people come to you for the dirt and they come to you to find out what's happening. So those are two ways for sure that you will become addicted to drama. Another is that if you were raised in a household where there was a lot of drama, it's all you know. So it's just normal to you. You don't even think about it. You think, well, this is the way you do life. So it has never occurred to you that there's another way. I grew up with some people from many cultures. I'm from Canada. And in Canada, it was a melting pot. I can't say that it is as much now, but it truly was. I mean, in my classrooms, there were people from probably 8 cultures in every class, and we didn't think anything of it. But I know that some of those people were very expressive and they were talking about everybody else and other people who didn't say anything to anybody about anything. And it's just a way of being. It kind of if you come from a collectivist culture where the family is more important than the individual, you're just talking about that stuff all the time. What's happening to whom, and all of that. So there are three major things that can cause us to become addicted to drama.
Okay, what are those three things that
I just
make,
told you.
okay.
There
Oh,
are
there are
those.
three. Oh, got
Yeah.
it. I thought you were going to bring three more things out. I'm like, okay, wow, there's a lot more to this story.
Yeah, so those three are key, probably the basic three, because we do like to have the answers, and we do like to be involved, and we do like to feel that we're part of a social group. Sometimes being addicted to drama gives us those feelings.
Indeed. So, what do we do when we recognize, oh my gosh, I've been living my life through other people's drama or creating my own? That's another thing. Let's talk about, before we say what to do about it, I think it's important to identify, are we actually creating the drama? Do we
Good
spark
question.
it? I know that I had a relationship once that I sparked it because I was bored or I wasn't getting what I wanted and I wanted to feel more connected to somebody. So I would cause things to happen. And I didn't know it consciously at the time, but at some point I did become aware of it. So can you talk about those patterns?
Sure. And what you're saying is absolutely accurate. Like if I can't get what I want, then sometimes I will return to that 3-year-old and kick my heels and and yell and scream and say, yeah, exactly.
Me
I
want attention. Me want attention.
Yeah. And so one way to do that is to become quite dramatic. And we go to extremes, like, oh, you've never loved me, or you don't care about me. And I can just tell you don't care about me. And there's no way to have a discussion. We've now gone past the point of discussion. We're in true full blown emotion, blown out of proportion, usually. So yes, that's one way. We want to get attention. We feel like we're lost in the relationship, and we just want to say, hey, I'm here too. Look at me. I need something, and you're not noticing. So I need to up the volume and let you know, right? And yes, when you become a little more aware of other techniques, there are better ways to say that. But it's a perfectly valid thing to want to do, is to do something that says, hey, I'm over here, don't forget that I have wants and needs too. So we just get a little more expressive than we need to get that. But then I have clients who are in the world of just demand, and mostly I work with the partners of these people, of course, because these people are hijackals. But hijackals are going to always be in demand. You have to do this for me, and you must do this, and if you love me, you'll do this, and everything is wrong with you, and everything is right with the hijackal. And so you have a lot of drama, and the hijackal is creating that on purpose. And so you have to get away from the hijackal in order to get away from the drama.
I've learned a lot about hijackals from you, and if anybody's wondering what this term Roberta's using, hijackals, I highly recommend you go to hijackals.com and download your free gift there that is an intro to what is identifying a hijackal, someone who's very difficult and you think you're crazy, but you're not, actually.
Exactly. And it is important to know that the ebook that you get free over there is called How to Spot a Hijackal. And they have traits and patterns and cycles. And if you don't know that, you get into a downward spiral because they keep pushing you down, pushing you down, pushing you down. And then they give you a little bit of light and you go rushing toward it and you say, oh, he loves me, loves me, loves me, and squash. And so you need to know those things, because you will live a life of complete drama if you're with a hijackal. And so, yes, please go there if you find that you're really being put down and kept down and in a difficult situation all the time with a relentlessly difficult person.
Yeah, and the drama, whether it's a hijackal or you're just identifying a drama in your life, I find it very liberating to identify when one is creating it and then to say, okay, well, do I really want this drama? And why am I creating it? And or why am I putting up with it? Because
Mhm.
then you can make choices. So the key is if you truly want to be happy, is the drama bringing you happiness is like the first question. If the answer is
Mhm.
no, and typically it's no, there's some gimme out of it, like, oh, I get to feel important for a moment. Oh, I get to feel like I have purpose. Or, oh, there's so much other not interesting or painful things in my life that at least it distracts me from that. Can
Yeah.
we identify that? Because then you have freedom to choose how to actually take a step towards happiness versus just avoiding pain or entertaining yourself or feeling frustrated and in with a purpose that is it really serving? How much are you serving in this drama?
So many great questions. That would be a great list to write down, Laura.
So
uh,
rewind, replay, and write
and
them down.
write them down for sure. And the answer to that is you need help. And I don't say that because that's what you and I do all day is help people. I say that because when you're in a situation, you can't see it clearly. And when there's somebody who's very experienced who can ask you questions and draw from you what is really going on, it helps you extract what you want and what's right for you and see the situation more clearly.
I am smiling so big right now because, you know, it's a gift, first of all, to put yourself in front of somebody who is a an objective and not going to judge you, a safe place for you to tell your drama, right? To get it all out there, to prove why you're right and they're wrong, and then to just reflect back and say, is this really what you want? And can you see this is going on here? And then you're like, you get such a bigger perspective. Your
Yeah.
horizons actually widen. You actually have more freedom. So if you can take that teeny tiny step of courage and do exactly what you're saying, Rhoberta, and put yourself in front of somebody who you can just be, with that's not your normal people. Not your best friend's
Yeah,
going to say, oh, they're there. That's
yeah,
terrible.
exactly right. Don't go running to your friends because remember, your friends want to give you advice and then they're not happy if you don't take their advice and you get into a whole mess, right? No, go to somebody who is objective. And, I see all my clients just the way you and I are talking on video conferencing. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can get help this way. And we can see each other. It's just like we're in the same room. Yes, I can't give you a hug, but you know that I'm there, and it is a wonderful way to get the help that you need. And something about friends and family. Remember, they always have a vested interest in the outcome. And sometimes, of course, they love you and they want the best outcome, but they also want to be right about you. So that's another good reason for saying, no, I'll go and do this off by myself with a professional, and then I'll come back and I'll be different and we'll just go from there, okay?
So that brings us to how do you choose the right relationship support person, in your life? The person,
Oh,
the objective person who's going to not side with you or side with them, but really be a safe place to express and help you see what is so, and then help you achieve what your heart really wants.
oh well, that's a really big question. First of all, you want someone that has experience and has had personal experiences and is experienced. Particularly for me, when I deal with the partners, the exes, and the adult children of hijackals, these relentlessly difficult people, it's not just because I have a PhD in psychology, it's because I was raised by a hijackal. Therefore, I attracted one, I married one, I divorced one, I co parented one, and I have the ugly video to prove it. And so interview people and find out, is it book learning or have you actually been through what I'm going through? maybe they haven't gone through it in the depth that you're going through it or whatever, but they understand, or they have walked with a lot of people who are going through it and they have that experience. So always be feeling strong about interviewing people to see if they're the right people. That's why I offer a brief consultation. It's free. Let's see if we're a good fit, because I encourage people to find someone who's a good fit for them, that they feel trusting. They may not always feel comfortable in the process, but that they feel that they can trust and they're safe. That doesn't mean that person isn't going to ask them tough questions. It just means that they started out from a place of feeling safe.
Yeah, safety is key, feeling like you can speak and be heard. And by the way, your free consult, you can find more information about it for relationshiphelp.com. I too offer a complimentary consult for anybody who wants to get online and feel good about themselves online, not the ranters, but once you've dealt with your addiction to drama. By the way, social media is not a good place to go do drama. A lot of people do it, but I don't think it really serves a higher purpose. Drama really,
No.
I'm on a mission. That's one of the reasons we're doing these Facebook Lives, is to make sure that the drama gets handled professionally, not on social media, because your social media is not your therapist. In fact, it escalates problems usually. Uh, I was reading something yesterday and it was just amazing. One person's video, um, just, it was a great video, and then somebody had to criticize it, right? And then it just blew up into this whole drama of people criticizing each other. It just doesn't really work. It doesn't leave a good feeling. And my mission is to help people use social media for social good and improving the world. And so that's what we're here doing. And if you're addicted to drama and you just realized it, yay, good news. That's like awesome news. That's the best place you could be in, even though it's kind of scary. But there are safe places, and I highly recommend checking out Rhoberta's site for relationshiphelp.com for that.
Well, thanks, Laura. I just want to say something about social media. Remember these words: it lasts. Whatever you put on social media is there forever. It will follow you. Remember the search function? They will find you. So be very thoughtful about what you're putting on social media. Make sure it represents you well and that you'd be happy to read it again next week. Not have one of those moments where you go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yes, you can go and you can delete a post, but you've already put things in thousands of people's minds. And I'll just give you a little strange thing, Laura, that I wanted to tell you this morning about how social media connects people. I was on a radio show recently, and I really appreciated the social media techniques of the host that I noticed after the show. So I called her and I said, how did that happen? How do you do that? Do you have a strategy? Did you learn it somewhere? She said, no, I have a person, and the person does it. And I said, oh, who's that person? And she said, well, this is a person who was trained by somebody that Laura and I both know. And Laura and your show, when you used to do blabs, changed my life, because I was with a hijackal and I left him, and I am much happier now. And so that's how social media works.
Woo! High five to the
Yes.
Transform Your Relationship show and social media.
Exactly. And so I thought, and this woman's in Portugal. So what were the chances? I mean, that trail could only happen by social media. So remember that what you're putting out there represents you, and make sure that you have something that does represent you in the light you'd like to be represented, not just a momentary rant, because that is you too. And of course, if you feel strongly about it and you'll be happy to see your rant up there in 2 weeks after everybody has picked it apart, go for it.
Yeah.
But that's drama. It's just drama. And don't always think that everybody who's reading those tweets has your best interest at heart. They don't.
Yeah. So be very careful. And yes, we're encouraging you to reach out for help in a public forum like social media. It may backfire on you. That's why we use the word safe. You want to find someone who's safe. And Rhoberta, I love what you say about interviewing people, whether it's a coach or a therapist or a psychologist or psychiatrist. Um, Interview them all. If they won't interview, grant you an interview, something's up. Because I've interviewed tons of therapists and coaches because I want to make sure their thinking is in alignment with their values, what they do in certain situations. I had a whole list of like 18 questions that I developed at one point to interview a therapist. I should go dig it out and we can go over them. And I'd love to hear your opinion on them. But being a hypnotherapist as well, I understand the process of working with clients. I'm obviously not trained or licensed in the psychology diagnosis and treatment, but I understand what it is to sit with someone who is bearing their soul to you. And it is an honor and a privilege and something that one must take very seriously. And then there's a healing that just takes place in the sharing of it in a safe place. So that's key, the safe place.
It is. And, one of the ways that is safe, and let me know, you can go to rs@forrelationshiphelp.com and send me an email or find me on Facebook. I have secret groups on Facebook so that you are safe. So if you want to talk about life with a hijackal, or you want to talk about how it feels to be alienated from your children or cut out of the lives of your grandchildren, I have secret groups for that. And so that's one way that social media can truly serve you, is that you can get in a group that allows you to have the freedom to talk about things. Because in a secret group on Facebook, no one knows you're part of it. It doesn't show up on Facebook. You have to be added by me. And you have to have contacted me, or a person in the group can add you. So it's very secret, very confidential. And I invite you to think about that if it is not possible for you at this moment to get individual help.
Yeah. So I love your secret groups. This is your email, rs@forrelationshiphelp, rs@forrelationshiphelp.
Make sure to tell me what you want, though, when you do that, because I get hundreds of emails a day.
Yes. So the secret group is really powerful because you provide guidance and reassurance when the outside world may not be providing that. And that's a really critical thing, is like your sanity is important. And knowing that, these people in your lives whose voices you hear in your head are not necessarily the real truth. And they're not there for your benefit. But Rhoberta, I know your highest intention is to help people gain their personal power and their sense of self again, if they don't have it. And it's a true gift. It's just, I think everyone it can't hurt to have this safe space in your life, period. Because we all need it at some point. We're all going to go through stuff if we're evolving, right? And we're going to attract things that we don't know how to deal with always.
Mm-hmm. I think that's absolutely true. And having someone like you or I in your back pocket is really valuable, because when something happens, you've got that person you can go to. You don't have to go looking again. And don't jump from person to person unless you're unhappy with the person. Because remember, you have to tell your story all over again to somebody, and it rewounds you. So when you do choose someone, you tell your story one time. Yes, it may be painful, but then that person holds your story and can help you move forward. But when you're always telling your story, you're creating drama. And when you're always telling your story to other people, you're creating drama. And it's almost like a cry that says, I'm unhealed. I'm unhealed. I'm unhealed. And you keep going and telling the story over and over. And it's like a cry for help. I have the story. I have the story. But only you can go and get the help that you know you need, when you know you need it, when you know you're going to work with it. And the sooner the better, because remember, you can't do it any younger. Your life is going by and you're being influenced by whatever pain has occurred. And let's heal it. Let's get on with it. Let's move forward together. And and not have to have that trauma anymore. Become empowered. Know how you want your life to look. Know what your values are. Know what your beliefs are. Know what your goals are, and know why. And then you're empowered to move forward, and other people can't shake you up.
I often find when people create drama, it's because they're not really clear of what they want in their life.
Yeah.
And they're trying to work it out, and get there. Some people want to work it out, and sometimes it's not necessarily appropriate to work it out with other people. You need to work it out with yourself first.
Yeah, it's very seldom appropriate to work it out with other people because think about this, you have a big blow up with somebody. If you had the skills not to have the big blow up, you would have the skills to go and heal it. But so you wouldn't have had the blow up in the first place. So it's important to understand that there is skill sets that can have you have the life you most want, and the relationship skills to have relationships go in a way that you feel good about. And sometimes we don't learn those at home, right, Laura? I mean,
Rarely. I don't think
yeah.
most people are trained in this, and I don't know why we don't have more structures in place to train people on healthy relationship patterns and or getting out of bad and identifying abusive. And why is this stuff not out there, in the world? Do we have to keep it in the confines of a therapist's office and keep them in business, or can we start making this information public knowledge? I mean, really, I want
Well,
to rant now.
you and I do that all the time. I mean, through our blogs, through my newsletter. I know that I every week I write a newsletter that gives a tip. It's called Tips for Relationships. That's my newsletter. You'll find it at forrelationshiphelp.com. And it tells you my upcoming radio guests on the Relationship Help Show. And it just keeps us in relationship with each other. So if something in there goes, oh, I need that, then you immediately know. Every Tuesday, you're going to get a newsletter that says, here's what's up. Is this any use to you? Join in if you like. And that puts us in relationship. And also, again, we have social media where we're giving things,
Yep, and
right?
we're here every other week giving it, and you can watch all the replays right here on Transforming Relationships Live. So it's pretty fascinating, this whole topic of being able to handle the drama and watch it grow in our lives, and how do we actually shift the pattern to something of like more like what you said, knowing what you want in your life and creating that. How about being able to say, I want this and this happens, versus like, oh my God, there's a drama going on, somebody did something, it's not good, I got to go handle it. No, is that really what you want to do? Handle it? Why don't you have a bigger picture of your life and say, okay, well, that happened. What do I want? Is there anything to address there? Let's move on and go and get what I want, versus staying in drama. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And if the things that we've been talking about resonate, you might want to look for my book. My partner and I wrote this book called Soul Solitude, Taking Time for Our Souls to Catch Up. And it talks about the two main dramas in life. There are more than two, but it talks about two. One is living up to the expectations of other people, and the other is, wait for it, addiction to drama. And so it's important to educate yourself. So remember, you can go to Amazon and get a copy of Soul Solitude, Taking Time for Our Souls to Catch Up, and learn more, stimulate your thinking about this addiction to drama and the other part of living up to the expectations of others, because that's something we have to give up to if we want to be happy.
Cool. And I wanted to share a resource too, the feminine power cards that I have, which are little wisdom cards and practices. So I pulled one for today. The wisdom is be centered within yourself. But the real cool thing about it is the practice. So that's one thing to say, be centered, but here's a practice. Consider this for contemplation. What is important to me? What is important to me? And then you can take an action. When you're really clear on what's important to you, it's easier to make decisions. So here's the action. Decline a request you know you don't want to accept.
No, I don't want to go to that Tupperware party.
Right. Even if you
Those are
feel
great.
guilty, even
Yeah.
if you feel guilty.
And you will the first time if you're in the habit of always taking on things you don't want to do. But those cards are great. I keep them on my private altar all the time, and I pull one every now and again. And I really encourage you to have them somewhere at hand. So where are they? FemininePowerCards.com, I think.
Yep, you can get them at femininepowercards.com.
Now, the reason that Laura and I put up all these things for you is that we really want to be helpful. It's not salesy, it's help. We've done things, we've walked through things, we've experienced things, we've been trained in things, and we can help. So this is our gift to you to say, hey, you don't have to wander through the internet. We're giving you some places to go that will give you genuine help. And I hope that you'll go there. And I hope that you'll look, you'll let me know if you want to be part of the secret Facebook groups, because you don't have to be in pain alone. Hijackals love to cull you from the herd and isolate you.
Mm,
And so there you are out there by yourself. You don't have to be there. You can go and join in my groups.
yes, please. Don't be isolated. Join other people who know you're sane.
Yeah, and
And
and that it's not your fault.
yeah, exactly. It's not your fault, and you're a valuable human being with so much to offer, and your desires matter. So we invite you to use our resources, come back to the Transform Your Relationship show again, watch our others, and please feel free to comment. Thank you for the likes today and for your attention and to yourself. We're just by taking this time for you, you are making a difference. So we will be back in 2 weeks for another edition of Transform Your Relationships.
Great. Bye bye.
Bye for now.